Hey, welcome to my mask shop. I'm Jeff Semmerling. I'm a mask maker. I work here in the Midwest in our little studio called the Inside Out Art Studio. Today, we're going to teach you a quick how to make a cardboard pitchfork. Now, we'll talk about why as we go along, but a cardboard pitchfork is a symbolic, it's an artistic, symbolic way of expressing your anger. And anger is your friend. Remember, don't ignore your anger. Just learn how to express it in ways that are helpful. So we're going to make some pitchforks today out of cardboard. First I want to show you the material you need. We need, of course, a measuring stick or measuring tape. You need to have hot glue, and I'll be talking in a moment about what kind of hot glue you should best get. You can also use contact cement or other kinds of glues that will be strong. But the hot glue gun is an amazing thing. We also will need not only the number 11 X-Acto blade, but the kind of box cutter blade that you might also want. Also, we'll need a pencil for tracing, and I like to finish the mask with any kind of silver paint, or the mask. I like to finish the pitchfork with any kind of silver paint, and then we'll wrap the handle in the duct tape, the brown duct tape. So, the pitchfork that we're going to build looks like that. You see, it's made out of cardboard. It's safe. You can get it through any kind of metal detector. There's nothing here that's harmful or threatening whatsoever, except for in a sort of metaphorical way. It carries a threat of the strength of the power of the people. So, let's get together, people, and let's work with some cast-off materials like cardboard. Cardboard is my favorite new material. It's made with a corrugation inside, and that corrugation adds strength, as well as it makes your material have a skin on both sides, but a fluffy cellular area on the inside, which you can shape, bend, stretch, skive away. We'll do many tutorials on how to work with this lovely material. And you know, a lot of people just throw it away. For our pitchfork, we want to build for strength. And all cardboard has a grain in it where the corrugation runs. If you run your corrugation straight up and down, your corrugation will bend possibly this way. So since we're going to laminate several layers, we're going to run our corrugation on angles. We're going to make our patterns angles so that we have crossed grains. This will add strength to our pitchfork. This pitchfork will be my pattern. I will set it down and get some good length out of at least one piece, and then I will try to find other places where I can trace it and get more copies. I'll need, I believe, 3 copies of this, but it's also possible, if you don't have enough cardboard at the full length of what you want to work with, that you can laminate, since we're laminating 3 layers, that you can piece together at least 1 or 2 of the layers, as long as there's a lot of good strength and cross grain. Now, this one I'm going to do, I've traced this piece right here, and it's only got part of the pitchfork and the full length. That we will get to later. So, now we should talk about cutting it out. Cutting out the cardboard with a razor. A lot of people have instinctual ideas that one should cut this out by putting this on top of some other material and cut into it, through it, and have the other material get a little scarred up. Who cares? The other material gets a little scarred up. But every time you cut something with a blade, you dull the blade. So if you cut even a material as light as the material you're cutting, as well as the material you need to cut, you're unnecessarily dulling your blade. Also, you're unnecessarily wasting some material. So if you were using a saw, for instance, and you needed to do a cross cut, you wouldn't say, go place that piece of board on a big pile of plywood and cross cut through that so that you can cut that thing, and you know, who cares if you chew into some plywood. We're going to treat cardboard with as much respect as we would any other material, and we're going to get a lot more out of it because of it. So this kind of blade is got a point on it that comes off of the straight, and there's an angle reinforcing the blade in the metal, which shows us that what it wants us to do is put this blade down and pull it across what we want to do. And I did that just a little off the table. Another way to do it would be to set it here like a carpenter would with drywall, go through and pull it along. But what you want to make sure is that you're never cutting toward yourself. That's a nice long straight cut that you can get out of this kind of box cut. Also though, this project involves doing some cutting with an X-Acto blade, a number 11 X-Acto blade. And as you can see on the number 11 X-Acto blade, the blade that is sharp is actually the angle part of the blade, not the straight part off of it. So if you were to use this blade in the way we do the box cutter blade, there's this very delicate tip that I guarantee would not last very long at all. And again, if you cut down into other materials, you're dulling your blade unnecessarily and unnecessarily wasting other areas. So what I do is use it like it was a jigsaw. And I think that's how it's meant to be used. You come to where you want to start your cut, simply by pushing down, you cut the width of your blade. And then you jig. Now on a straightaway, you can get more than a jig out of it. You can get some glide out of the jig, but the act of just moving it down through the material cuts the width of the blade. I'll say that again. Just the act of moving this blade through the material cuts the width of the blade. On a tight curve, I might not use the whole width of the blade. I might just use the first bit of it. It's also nice to have one of these kitchen chicken scissors. Strong enough to cut through your cardboard. To trim it up and clean it up. So now I have all but one part. I need to make one more of these. This part is the stay that goes here in the pitchfork. It gives it a little strength from the handle up into the fork. So we need to make one more of these. Let me do it quickly, just to demonstrate. I'm going to cross grain. The grain is running this way on this cardboard. I'm going to cross that grain just a little bit. Just doing this cut with my poultry shears, my kitchen poultry shears. Getting fancy here, so maybe I can save this piece for another project. But I could have gotten that piece out of my way and made it a little easier on me to cut. Alright, now we have all the parts we need to put together this lovely little pitchfork. I'm going to have to make some pieces down here where my pitchfork isn't long enough. Make sure it's as long as my pattern. I'm going to pull my pattern out. This piece here does not complete the whole length. It stops on a nice, sharp, reinforceable angle. Very nice to have in this situation. So I'm going to set this down on cardboard and trace it. And mark where my actual piece ends, and I'm going to make that angle line right across that. And I'm going to cut these up. And we do this for 3 layers. So one of my layers I think is going to be solid piece all the way through. And one other one that I have to do this for. Bear with me. to assemble. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. I need to build the rest of this pitchfork. It's missing. This pitchfork, I didn't have a big enough piece, we're saying. And I need to build the rest of it that's missing. So we take this right to our material. Always good when you can cross that grain. We'll set it down here, trace the original pattern. Mark where our piece doesn't cover and draw that line straight across there now. Now I believe I'm going to cut out my final piece. Scissors. Now, we're ready to assemble. All right, let's slow things down just a little bit and talk about hot glue. Now, I'm going to use my extra large reservoir hot glue gun, which I get from my friend at Super Grit or Red Hill Corporation. And he is the man who invented the hot glue gun. So he has some lovely hot glue guns. This kind of hot glue gun that you can get at any store or any hot glue gun is just as good, except in order to do some big projects like this, sometimes I need to have more than one of these plugged in so that I always have enough hot glue ready when I get it down on a big piece. This one, on the other hand, always has hot glue ready because of its extra large reserve. And the other secret that the reason you need to know, and this is my, I owe this guy so much for all he's done for my work. Free sponsorship of our first presentation, our first little demonstration. You need to go to Red Hill Corporation or Super Grit to get his glue. Because with the Super Grit glue, it is like welding your cardboard. You place the Super Grit glue fairly thick because it has to stay hot until I get this whole thing covered. And you get pieces close, strips close to the edge. And I like to set some deep, thick pools in places to make sure that hot glue hot all the way to when it comes in contact with the other pieces. So we're going to build we're going to put the pitchfork with the least completeness on top of this piece first. This piece is the partial piece. Right there. This piece. double fit piece. It's a little bit stronger now, you see. I'm going to take a good look at where I want to strengthen this. I'm going to put this piece on here. And bear with me now. We'll go into a faster speed or something. Here I wrote myself a little note on this piece that I cut out earlier. It says, don't just complain about things you think are wrong. Get up and have some fun about them. And that's what you can do with your cardboard pitchforks. You can make a big fun scene out of this. I think we could share these videos internationally and internationally. Groups could decide to gather in certain places in large scales. Lots of pitchforks coming from all around the nation. I don't know what event you might need to do that for in the future, but as we are making these right now, there's a certain Democratic National Convention coming up. Perhaps we could all make cardboard pitchforks and meet in a certain place. And the thing is that when you do these large-scale artistic statements, the press notices. People will take pictures, and those pictures will get published. If a beautiful street of Philadelphia was filled with beautiful people having a great time waving around their cardboard pitchforks and torches and saying, we want our democracy to be a democracy, that message will come across. They don't even have to ask people, the right people, why are you here with your pitchforks? The image is there. People will be able to understand why we would be there with our pitchforks. Why am I doing this? Oh, I'm doing this all wrong. This only goes here. Putting in the stay for strength. Putting an extra cardboard on there. Remember, we cut these stays to go in here. We'll do that last piece in. Large-scale visual images, repetition of shape and form. Have you ever been in the presence of a giant? I've made some and been in their presence. When they're in my studio, they're kind of just a sculpture. But once they're put up in the air, in public, in a place that everybody knows and familiar with, and a giant is there walking around, the power of human anthropomorphism, the way we want to make things look human, really takes over, and you really start to see a giant, and you feel what it's like to be in the presence of a giant. A presence that cannot be ignored. So, let's have some fun about it. That is your pitchfork. You put some duct tape over the handle, perhaps having spray painted it before. You could, duct tape the pitchfork. But I think it's really helpful in this particular cardboard image that people see that it is made of cardboard. That it's part of what it's about, that it's a cardboard pitchfork. Thanks for seeing that one, and we have another nice instruction coming up soon about how to make cardboard torches.